Alright guys, we're here today in the F-16. We're painted with Japanese colors, and we're going to be taking on an American F-18 Hornet here. And so this is going to be a relatively difficult fight for the Viper, in the sense that if I get too slow and I go into a one-circle fight with him, I'm 100% going to die. If I stay in the two-circle rate fight, then my odds are starting to get a lot better. And we know that because that's how the F-16 likes to fight. It's a rate fighter. Here we go for the merge. Okay, so right off the bat we're into a two-circle rate fight, which is exactly what I want. I'm working really hard to keep my energy state high. And what I mean by high is I'm not pulling too hard on the stick. I'm letting the F-16 continue to maintain its speed. If you pull too hard, she gets too slow, and then you're in trouble. And he's coming across here, maybe a snapshot opportunity, so I'm just going to roll out of the way, make sure I screw up his fire solution just enough that he can't shoot. And okay, and we're in a good situation here. I want to keep my speed north of 400. That's really where the Viper is going to like to sit. Anything below 300 and I'll be struggling against the Hornet. Here he comes again for a shot that's going to be short, even though it looked like it was good. But I could see the top part of his aircraft, which told me that that shot was going to be short. If I see underbelly, that means he's got enough lead. So here he comes around, and we're going to stay in this. You see we're dragging him down to the ground. I'm trying to remove any kind of altitude he can use. Once again, he's firing short, which is why you don't see me being too worried about those shots. And once I get him down to the ground, he's kind of out of altitude to play with, and we can start rate fighting here. And once again, short. He's gonna run out of ammo if he keeps that up. And so he was doing a really good job as long as he had altitude. He was probably, you know, a few feet off with the proper lead. And we're in the rate fight now. We're hella close to the ground. Oh, just went over some trees there, and nice and close to the ground. Alright, and we're coming around this circle here, and once again I want to keep my energy north of 400. Speed maybe like 430-ish sounds good, and then the Viper really starts to rate around the circle really nicely. And so now we're in a situation, you can see we're winning the circle. He's tightening down his turn here. Okay, and so we're going to start asking him questions. We've talked about this in other videos where we start asking the guy one question after another, and really eventually we're going to get to a point where he won't be able to answer one of the questions, and that's when we're going to win. And we're going to be nice and patient through these rate fights. A lot of people find rate fights to be boring. They just see two aircraft doing circles on the ground, but in reality there's a lot going on, and if you understand what you're looking at, it's pretty exciting actually. And so here I'm stacking high, and I'm just going to keep him out in front of me, and I'm just going to wait for an opportunity where I feel like it's a good spot for me to pull him into the HUD and kill him. And I'm just going to wait it out, just nice and patient. You can see my speed's getting a little bit lower. It's honestly below 400 is not where I want to be, but you can see here I'm going to sacrifice a little bit of speed and pull him into the HUD, try to get some shots off. I'm surprised I didn't hit that. And so I had to actually sacrifice a little bit of speed to do that. You saw the aircraft buff it as I pulled them into the HUD. I did that because I thought I could finish it right there. Otherwise I wouldn't have sacrificed that much energy or speed. And so I'm just gonna be patient again, let the speed rebuild, and I'm just gonna stack high and wait again. We're going to wait for the right opportunity, the right amount of speed, and all that stuff. Once all the parameters are good, we'll pull him back into the HUD and try to kill him again. And you can clearly see that I am winning the raid fight here. You know, I got him in a good situation. Here we're going to pull him in. This looks good. We're going to ask him another question here. And he tries to jink out a plane. I see a little bit of panic starting to set in here on this Hornet as he starts to realize I'm sitting now closely on his 6 o'clock, and he has exited the raid fight. He's in a panic, and that's where he'll die. That's the question he won't be able to answer. Good fight. Great fight by the Hornet. He did really well on the way down here. Just a little bit better management of the energy in the raid fight, and he may have actually had me there.
Bingo.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting my work on Patreon. Really helps me out when you do that. Big thank you to all of you who are already supporting the channel. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Alright guys, so we'll do a quick little TAC view review here. Jump, my bad. Alright, right here. The merge. I'm gonna merge at an indicated of 514, which may be a little too fast, and 638, and Jay's actually a little bit faster than me. He's at Mach 1.1, I'm Mach 1.02. I would say maybe 490 is a good merge speed, but there's the merge. He's pretty fast, so going for the vertical is not a horrible idea. Now, I believe that Jay here is pulling a lot of G's and he's losing a lot of speed through that turn. Probably pulling the G limiter on the Hornet for that. And a little too long on that. You can see how the aircraft is, you know, it's giving him some really good AOA, but in return it's losing a lot of speed. And you can see my circle is a lot bigger than his, and it's because I'm maintaining that speed, trying to keep it at a high kinetic energy state. And so here we go through this second merge, and once again you see we continue in the 2-circle configuration, and the whole time I'm trying to drag him down to the ground. Now, you know, I talked about in the video how if he has altitude, he's at an advantage, and that's because with the altitude, even if you get too slow, it's like you still shouldn't get slow, but if you get slow, you can dump your nose to get some of your energy back. And also, he has room with the altitude to try to force a 1-circle fight. He can still do it on the ground, but it'll be a little bit more challenging. So here we go on this. You can see this shot here, which falls short. And let's have a look at that. Yeah, this is the one that was very close. He was feet away on that one. So that was lucky for me. He may have just, you know, been inches away from winning right there. And so once again, I'm just going to drag him to the ground. And you can see his speed is low. A true airspeed of 322 means that his indicated is probably in the 270s somewhere. And he's going to shoot again, and you can see, like, I can see frontal profile but not underbelly of the aircraft, which means there's not enough lead on that shot. And here, as we enter this, and you can see he had to cash in a little bit there. He had to cash in some of his speed to get that shot. because he had to pull AOA to get enough lead, which resulted in a loss of speed for him. So as he comes down into this position, he's slow, which means he's going to fall behind in the rate fight. And you can see I was maintaining my speed at an indicated of 480 plus. Once again, you can see those rounds falling short. If Jay pulls too hard on his stick here, he'll lose too much speed, and if he misses, he'll be a sitting duck when I come around the circle, and if he pulls too hard, he may even hit the ground. So those shots that you're seeing, he's pulling lead, but he's just not pulling enough, because you can see they're falling fairly short at that point. So, and let's just go back here. Let's look at the moment that he shoots that stuff. And from the cockpit, right from here, I am actually seeing a little bit of underbelly. So I honestly should have probably jinked here, because you can see underbelly. But I think the distance is too far, which is probably why those rounds don't hit. That would be my guess. And so we go through this little circle here. You can see because he was slow as he came into the raid fight. Like, if you can tell you're about to fall into a raid fight on the deck, you should try to get your energy up as you on your way down. And that's because that you don't want to end up in the situation that Jay is in here. He's too slow, and now he's stuck trying to regain his speed, and I'm where I want to be. I'm nice and fast, and you can see I'm really pulling through that circle. And at this point, I'm well ahead of him, and right around here, we're about neutral in the circle. You can tell that he's trying to rebuild his speed, and I'm a little bit faster than I should be. I hit the 500s there. Here I am again hitting 500, but I want to kind of pull that back. You can see I don't let it stay there for too long, and I start pulling harder on the stick. And honestly, with the F-16, you got to take off maybe an inch off the throttle when it starts to just gain speed while you're full stick back. Otherwise, she'll just climb into the 600 knots or something, and then at that point, you're screwed. And so here we are in the circle. At this point, I'm definitely winning the circle. There's not really much question about that. And the whole time I kept my energy high, which is the only reason why I was able to survive against Jay's, the shots that he took at me. And so keeping the F-16 at a high speed is very, very important. Not too fast, because there is a magic space you need to sit. And like we talked about in the video, it's about the 470 area. And 430 maybe, 470 if you're really high up, I find, but maybe 430 to 440 is probably a good speed. And so here we are. Now this is called, like, we're still in the raid fight, but I'm stacking high on him, and I'm just keeping him out in front of the aircraft, just slightly above where if the F-16 had a canopy bow, you would be able to keep him at the top of that. And so I'm just waiting for the right angles. I think a 30% or a 30-degree aspect would be a good area to go in for the fight. Now here, he's a little bit high aspect to me, honestly. Like, I shouldn't have come in here, and that's the reason why I missed. But you can see it's not horrible. It's not horrible at all, really. I fall a little short, but it was close. Actually, some of those went right around him. A little high, I guess. Yeah. Looks like we both get a little bit lucky there. And then, so we're back in it, so I'm just going to stay patient again through that and just work my way back up and just sit where I need to sit. Now, I'm getting a little bit too slow here, which is why you see me kind of falling out of the circle. Or falling behind in the circle, and we'll just go ahead and increase those lines a little. So that's the one where I take the next round of shots at him, which starts to cause the panic. It looks like a panic, but he's honestly, like, those are pretty close, man. He's jinking and he's trying to get back into his circle, but at this point I think he takes a look back and he sees how close I am, and it causes some panic. Had he continued that and maintained his, and he's a little slow here to be fair, but if he was at his max rate speed, which is about 360 to 370, he would be fine. He would be able to get away from me. But, you know, he looks back, he panics because he sees an F-16 pretty close to him, and he starts doing this roll, which is a nice way to get yourself killed. And it's not his fault. I've been there 100 times. You know, you see something, you panic, and you make bad decisions. And yeah, you live, you learn. All right, big thank you to Master J for helping with the video, and thank you to you guys for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.